The rain hammered relentlessly against the window as Leo tried to focus on his book, each drop echoing through the small apartment. The storm outside was fierce, the wind howling and rattling the glass, making his flat feel even smaller, more isolated than ever before. Shadows danced across the walls, thrown by the streetlights outside, and the world beyond his window seemed impossibly distant, unreachable. Leo pulled his blanket tighter, trying to lose himself in the pages, but the storm's fury was impossible to ignore. Each thunderclap rattled the lights overhead, threatening to plunge the room into darkness at any moment. The flickering bulbs cast uneasy patterns, making the familiar space feel strange and uncertain. Suddenly, a heavy knock cut through the noise, sharp and urgent, louder than the storm itself. It was so unexpected that Leo nearly dropped his book. Leo froze, heart pounding in his chest. No one should be out in this weather, not at this hour. The knock echoed in his mind, raising questions and fears he couldn't quite name. He crept to the door and peered through the peephole, expecting to see a neighbor in need or perhaps a lost delivery driver. But the corridor was empty, silent except for the distant rumble of thunder. Yet on the mat below, a small brown parcel waited, unmarked and anonymous, as if it had appeared out of nowhere. There was no sign of who had left it, no footsteps fading down the hall. A chill ran down his spine. Who could have left it without being seen? The building was usually quiet, and Leo hadn't heard anyone approach. Against his better judgment, Leo opened the door just long enough to snatch the parcel and quickly locked it behind him, his hands trembling as he slid the bolt into place. He set the box on the table and stared at it, unease growing with every second. The storm outside seemed to fade into the background as his attention fixed on the mysterious package. The storm raged on, lightning illuminating the city in brief flashes. But inside Leo's apartment, something far stranger had just begun, a mystery that would change everything he thought he knew about this night. Leo unwrapped the parcel to find a black-framed photograph face down. The lights flickered, then died, leaving him in darkness lit only by lightning. With shaking hands, he turned the photo over, his own front door taken from the hallway. In the shadows beside the door stood a woman, her face hidden by long dark hair. As thunder crashed, Leo glimpsed a shadow move behind him in the glass's reflection. He spun around, heart racing, the image burned into his mind. Leo dropped the photo, glass cracking on the floor. He swept his phone's torch around, nothing but shadows. The sense of being watched pressed in. He crept to the door, peered through the peephole empty corridor, flickering light. He cracked the door open, called out, no answer. Stepping into the hallway, he found it deserted, shaken. He locked up tight and picked up the broken frame. This was no prank. Only the watchman might have answers. Grabbing his keys, Leo fled for the lobby. The powerless lift forced Leo down the stairs, heart pounding with every hurried step. Shadows flickered on the walls, and the echo of his footsteps seemed unnaturally loud in the silence of the night. Each floor he passed felt colder, as if the building itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. In the lobby he found Mr. Sharma, the night watchman, sitting behind his desk, half asleep. Leo thrust the photo into his hands, desperation in his voice, as he asked if the watchman had seen the woman. Together, they hurried to the security office, the air thick with tension. They scrolled through hours of footage, eyes straining for any sign of the mysterious visitor. Suddenly, the woman from the photo appeared on the screen, her long hair obscuring her face as she left a small, nondescript parcel at Leo's door. The timestamp matched the moment Leo had heard the strange noise. She paused, then turned to the camera, her lips curling into an unsettling, knowing smile that sent chills down Leo's spine. It was as if she knew she was being watched. Then, impossibly, she walked straight through Leo's locked door, her body passing through solid wood as if it were air, vanishing inside without a trace. The footage glitched, distorting her image. Mr. Sharma stared at the monitor in disbelief, his mouth agape, unable to comprehend what he had just witnessed. The room felt suddenly colder, the air heavy with dread. Leo's mind raced as the horrifying realization dawned on him. She hadn't just visited, she'd been inside his flat the entire time, unseen and undetected. Terror rooted him to the spot, his body refusing to move as icy fear gripped his heart. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but he was paralyzed. He could not go back upstairs. The thought of returning to his apartment, knowing what or who might be waiting inside, was more than he could bear. Leo lingered in the lobby, his knuckles white around the cracked frame, heart pounding in his chest. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting long, jittery shadows on the tiled floor. He tried to steady his breath, but the horror clung to him like a second skin, refusing to let go. Every sound in the building seemed amplified. The distant hum of the elevator, the echo of footsteps above, the faint creak of pipes. Leo felt utterly alone, yet watched, as if the very walls were closing in. The photograph in his hands had changed, no longer a harmless old snapshot, but now a chilling image of his own living room. The woman, pale and silent, stood by the bookshelf, her eyes fixed on something unseen. She seemed more real than ever, as if she could step out of the frame at any moment. The message was unmistakable. She was still there inside his apartment, waiting. The air felt heavier, thick with dread, as if the room itself was holding its breath. Leo's hands shook uncontrollably as he dropped the frame, the glass shattering on the cold floor. Panic surged through him, a wild urge to run, to escape, but his legs felt rooted to the spot. Some doors, once opened, can never be closed. Curiosity can be a dangerous thing, especially when it leads you to places you were never meant to go. Some parcels are better left untouched, their secrets sealed for a reason. Not every delivery is meant to be received, and not every mystery should be solved. If a mysterious package arrives on a stormy night, resist the urge to open it. Keep your doors locked, your curiosity in check, and your instincts sharp, because you never truly know what's trying to get in, what waits on the other side, eager for an invitation. And if you're not careful, you might just let it inside, turning your home into a place you no longer recognize.